It's now time to talk about all the major stories making rounds on the various newspapers in the country and online portals as well.
Can I ask you, why were you eagerly anticipating getting into the papers?
Because I knew that this man would be on the front pages of almost all the stories. Reverend Professor Emmanuel Marty, and he's the outgoing moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. And the front page of the Daily Guides, well, that's how we are starting anyway. It says, bombshell, moderator rejects $100,000 bribe. And you can see his picture there. We brought you a bit of that very story. And in essence, he's just suggesting that some politicians have been trying to bribe him to
get
stay
him
silent.
To be quiet,
and,
please.
Well, although he didn't mention names, many are trying to draw a link between the things he said and the position of the governing NDC, particularly seeing that he's been very critical of the NDC.
Yes, he has been. And he even mentioned that some people have tagged him MPP, but he's not MPP. That's what he says. So,
yesterday he also mentioned this very issue of people trying to associate those comments he passed some few days ago, suggesting that the Presby Church is ready to partner
with the
Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for development. Well, he's seeking to suggest that the Presby Church partners almost every government. So if you become president, we'll partner you. So it's erroneous for anyone to take that to isolate those words and make them stand out as if he was endorsing Nana Addo and suggesting that people should vote for him. But again, what do you make of the reactions, particularly from the former PRO of the church?
Well, like I said, it's going to be an interesting day today, and I foresee a lot of conversation on News Desk and News Today at midday.
True.
We really need to know who is saying what here, because it's a serious allegation made by Professor Marty, and then his PRO comes to say, look, this man is lying. He
took the money.
This is a religious
He took the money and the
figure.
card.
Yes, so
I need to read the quote. I'll read the quote to you.
Yes, because it's a really serious allegation.
Okay, but there are still a few more stories here. Baumia goes to town again on economy. That's also on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper, and blows over JB killers. And you can see two people there. That's Vincent Bosu and Daniel Esiedu. They are the two people alleged to have killed that man over there. Also in the paper there are a few things here. It says President moderator wants EC. Okay, so it comes with a picture of EC chair Charlotte Osei, and also that story clipped from yesterday's conversation over there. I think a few more stories. I think I did see one story, but while I try to find it, maybe.
All right, okay, let's go to the front page of the Daily Graphic, and there we have him again. Reverend Professor Marty says, some politicians tried bribing me with $100,000. The details of the story on page 16.
And a V8.
And a V8.
Please add that one. And a V8.
And this one says, progressively free SHS program, 120,000 boarders to benefit during 2016-2017 academic year. The details of that is on page 3. And yes, as you know, we thought all the trouble for Obinim has ended, but well, we have it here. More trouble for Obinim, and the story is on page 59. Let's check the center spread.
So it talks about the founder and leader of the International Gospel Church, Bishop Daniel Obinim. Obviously, he's been in the news for all sorts of reasons.
Various reasons.
3 weeks or so. But this time around, the Electricity Company of Ghana is after him. Apparently, well, per the story, we are told that he owed some money, about 27,000 cedis or so, 21,000 cedis. He did not pay, and he has a guest house and he has a church as well. So for 3 buildings, he had 3 meters. He owed 21,000 Ghana cedis. He did not pay. He was disconnected, and then the ECG just pops up one day to just do some checks, and they find that he has 3 new meters. We don't know where he got them from, but he has 3 new meters.
So there's some illegal connection somewhere.
That's what they're saying. And he owes an amount of about 217,000 cedis now.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
He'll be taken to court on Saturday.
Okay, but considering how much he pays his church and his workers, I'm sure 217,000.
This will be fun now. It will be a fun.
It's not too much money.
But the interesting thing I find in that very story is the fact that the ECG says this is a criminal offense.
Obviously, yes, it is.
Even after paying the money,
he could still that criminal aspect to it
that needs to be dealt with. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. And
really?
I don't know. It appears the
probably
police,
it's not his season.
the police is not his best friend now.
No,
Police is not his best friend. But you know, trials and tribulations are expected if you're indeed a man of God. Some of these things are expected.
Yeah,
So
even
we have to
Jesus.
toughen you, I believe.
Okay, center spread of the Daily Graphic is a special feature on Mahama Kambu carton goods transporting people. You remember these vehicles started springing up somewhere in Accra, and a lot of the taxi drivers complained that their clients were being taken. But I hear that in the northern part of the country they are being used extensively.
And these are the same vehicles that are being used by Maslock.
Yes,
they were being distributed.
That's why it's called Mahama Kambu.
Indeed, and there's been a lot of talk about it. Even I remember this group came out. In fact, they even filed a suit in court, seeking to suggest that these vehicles do not need to be on the roads, because really, if they speak of the security aspect, I mean, you sitting in these things, they believe you are not as protected as you should be. There are no seat belts, for instance, you know, and per the Road Traffic Acts, you should have. I mean, you should be in the car, not. It talks specifically of a car. Yeah. So if it's a tricycle like this, or a bicycle or a motorcycle, you can use it for commercial purposes. You know, so that's where the issue is. That's where the difficulty is. But we're still waiting to see what comes out of that.
All right. Okay. But Kwabena, I'm sure you'll be interested in this. Now we know after the GJA Awards, there was a lot of talk about Anas's award and someone threatening to file. True. In court about the fact that this case, Anas has a case in court, so this is contemptuous, and that's what Justice Derry's lawyer was telling us. But this is from within the house. Now, the Central and Western regional branches of GJA protest award to Anas. Let me just read a bit of that. The executives of the Ghana Journalists Association in the Western and Central regions have protested against the decision of the GJA to honor Anas Arimeyao Anas as the Journalist of the Year. The protest contained in a statement followed what the two branches said were the fallouts from the 21st GJA Award ceremony and leadership challenges in the association, and called for an apology from the president, Mr. Roland Afeumoni, to the executives and membership of the association. There's a lot to that. Now they come to say that the statement said, yes, Anas is a colleague, a good choice, a committed member of the association, with a focus on ensuring social justice, but stated that the decision was not an informed one from the national executives. It said, we were ashamed when somebody in the audience pointed to one of us after the awards that Article 10, Section 2 of the GJA Code of Ethics, which states any report or write-up affecting the reputation of an individual or an organization without a chance to reply is unfair and must be avoided by journalists. Kwabena?
I don't know what to say about this, really, because yesterday I was monitoring a few discussions on some other platforms, and it appears there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we know we are hearing as things stand now. Because, for starters, I listened to one lady who happens to be with the Western Regional Unit of the Ghana Journalists Association. Now, she says that they did speak to Afeumoni, and they asked him, after they had heard these things, that indeed Anas was going to be handpicked. They asked him that, is Anas being handpicked? And then Mr. Money comes in and says, oh, no, I mean, how can he be handpicked? No, you know, the committee did not even consider it. So I can assure you that's not the name in the sealed envelope there. And then the announcement is made, and to their surprise, it's Anas Arimeyao Anas. I mean, if you heard from those who took the award on behalf of Anas, they did mention the same thing, that they were pretty surprised. You know, but it's interesting how this goes, seeing that the story did make a lot of impact. It did shake the judiciary.
Exactly.
We do know it shook the foundation of the judiciary and indeed the country as a whole. But as to, some would say, the locus. Some are raising the argument that he was commissioned to do
the job.
So it was a job he was doing, not in our interest per se necessarily. You know, but let's see how it goes. And really,
a lot of angles to this story.
If Justice Derry really pursues this case like we are told he might be pursuing, if he should go to court on this, it'll be really interesting to see how this turns out.
It develops. Okay, but let me wrap up with the Daily Graphic. The back page says Synagogue Church donates to Accra Psychiatric Hospital. It's quite a fat paper today. A lot of stories to read from the Daily Graphic.
Okay, so here is the Ghanaian Times newspaper, and again, that man trending everywhere.
He's trending.
He's trending. So I was offered bribe, again, President Moderator alleges, but hails President for freeing Muntie 3. Now that's the new twist.
Yeah. Yesterday he said quite a lot of things.
A lot of things. You know. So we'll be bringing you a lot more of the things he said in subsequent bulletins, and it'll be interesting to get some reactions from some of these political parties who are being accused. And he also says a police officer beaten unconscious. That's on page 3 of the newspaper. And then another eclipse tomorrow. As whether it's a solar or lunar eclipse, I'm
it's
not
a partial one
so,
that I know.
The Ghanaian Times newspaper is saying history will once again be made tomorrow, September 1, as Ghana experiences another partial eclipse of the sun in the morning. We are told it's going to be between 6:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. The moon would repeat its periodic celestial passing over the face of the sun, casting a shadow on the land. Okay, it reminds me of my geography days. So yeah, so in essence, they are just saying that there's going to be an eclipse of the sun tomorrow. It's between 6:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. We'll see how that pans out. And I remember one time when there was a full eclipse.
I was just going to ask you where you were.
I remember. I was somewhere. I'm not sure I can mention where I was.
But yeah, I know, right? You were somewhere.
It was really interesting. And I had read about it. I had seen footages on YouTube and all, but I never thought it would be that massive. That huge.
It was quite an experience.
Yeah,
and
for
those of you who were too young at the time, this would be a really good experience.
I think we might have to wait. At the time, we were told we would have to wait for another 80 to 100 years for another
full eclipse.
So maybe next generation. If you missed it,
probably, but the partial one, I mean, have a loaf.
Yeah.
Better.
So, but make do with it tomorrow.
Yes,
you know. And on the back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, Isiama water system ready, and Galamsey destroying Dabwasi water plants. It comes with a picture of Mr. Paul Evans Seidu, and he's the minister there. So quite a few other stories here. I think I did see. Okay. So this is a story I looked at, and I thought it was interesting. Road Fund reaps 627.4 million Ghana cedis. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. We've been speaking to the NPP on the many promises they've been making, and, or they say they're going to build one dam, one village, they're going to construct one factory, one district, and
give about 1 million.
Yeah, exactly. This is infrastructure fund for every constituency as well. So it's about $135 million or so. That's what the NPP is saying. And the question that continually is asked is, where is the money? The NPP says there's money. Apparently there is.
There is.
So you see how it goes.
Well, would it suffice?
My issue with the road fund has to do with, there's been a significant jump in the amount of money we pay for funds.
Exactly.
So I think it's been about 600% over the past few years or so. Does it really translate into what we see on our roads?
Everybody asks, what's the money used for?
Really? Because sometimes when you're applying some of the routes,
don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go to the roads. It's terrible.
But we'll see how that pans out. So those are the stories on the front and back pages of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. All
right, quickly, the Daily Dispatch front page: politics, $100,000 mansion and V8. See how they capture that V8 over there. They have a photo of it, and they have a photo of
the Daily Dispatch.
The Daily Dispatch, yes, and well.
But the president is accused of sharing a lot of V8 vehicles.
We hear so, but well, it only remains an accusation.
It's the MPP
that is accusing him. But well, nobody has come out to say yes, the president or the NDC gave me a V8.
Would you take it?
No, I wouldn't. Why should I? Why, for what job?
Would you take
it? No. Why would you give me a V8?
Would you take it as a person?
No. As a person, as a journalist, no. As a person, no.
Okay, that's fine. No more questions.
All right, no more questions.
Okay. The final newspaper: Bonanza for SHS hopeful. CSSPS allows parents to change schools courses, and the story is on page 2 of the Finder newspaper. You can see that story there. And then also ECG saga, pool peddling falsehood. That's according to MEDA. So we have those stories on the front pages. And then payment of interest on mobile money on September 11. And I saw this story. Apparently, Airtel Money says they're going to be paying interest on your mobile money transactions. So if you have deposits in your mobile money transactions, if you have some deposits there and you have a lot more money in there, you'll be paid some interest. I don't know how much that will be, but still a step in the right direction.
Well, I hope the banks
mobile banking.
The banks will not be unhappy with this. But let's get on to myjoyonline.com and Chris Brown arrested for assault. This is not the first time. It's not the second time.
Indeed.
So, well, let's see how.
I'll say, and for this very reason why he was arrested. You know, he did an Instagram video on this.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did a video and was insulting the police and all, seeking to suggest that he's being harassed by the police. And per this story, it's been trending since 2 a.m. or so. What Chris Brown is saying is that, okay, the facts of the story are that there's a lady who sees Chris Brown and a friend of his, and the lady is just, for instance, I'm admiring this necklace of yours. The lady is just admiring it, and then the friend says, hey, why are you looking at my necklace? And then Chris Brown just pulls a gun on her.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
That's what they're saying about the story. So apparently he's been escorted to the police station, and he's been investigated.
And unfortunately for him, he doesn't have a good history.
Good record at all. You know, shout outs to Rihanna.
Shout outs to Rihanna. I like that. Okay, we can move on. And this story, South African school racist hair rules suspended. I'm sure you've been following the story. But I think it's a school in Pretoria, and the black girls, for lack of a better expression, were asked to straighten their hair. You know how kinky our hair is, and so they felt, no, this was too racist. It's my hair, that's how it is. I don't have to alter it. So there's been a lot of back and forth with that, but let's see how we go. It says, I'm happy. I'm sure hair deal with it. I'm sure it's someone saying that I like my hair the way it is.
If you're not happy with it,
deal with it. Yeah,
it's your problem, not mine. Anyway, so in other news, Obinna to face court over 217,000. In fact, I was very charitable with the number I gave. The amount of money. It's 217,000 Ghana cedis. That's the amount of money there. Now, bonded unemployed nurses threatened to picket at Health Ministry today.
There's been a lot of picketing by the nurses.
And indeed, but this is your year. If you have any grievances or any concerns, the time is now.
Oh, yeah, sounding like a motivational speaker.
Or forever remain silent, you know.
All right.
Kufuor's man dares critics to go to court over Kempinski deal. That says the Deputy Tourism Minister under the erstwhile Kufuor administration has said it cannot be the case that the Kufuor administration committed Ghana to a foreign agreement without parliamentary approval. Well, there are documents to suggest that was the case. So I don't know where.
Let's see how it goes. Our own Kwetenate, I'm sure, of course, still following that
story. There was a partnership between ourselves and some other investigative journalists elsewhere. And indeed, if you did see some of the documents from Mossack Fonseca, there are still a lot more things you haven't even heard of here in the country. There are still a lot more stories that maybe, just maybe, we will be bringing to you, because there are some pretty interesting developments there, particularly related to
you seem to know things that...
we read. I mean, they're there. If you read them, you see them.
Yeah,
sure. IMF team in Ghana to finalize work on third review, and it has to do with that third tranche of money we are expecting. We're told that sometime in September we should be getting it. Hopefully next 2 weeks or so, we should be getting that money. Bawumia announces $1 million for one constituency, if you could, one constituency pro-poor policy. $1 million per constituency.
Per constituency.
I just think, I don't know, but the MPP appears to have altered this strategy a bit. The MPP we are used to does not promise so much, and they usually back a lot of things they say with facts
and
figures.
evidence.
This time round, quite a number of promises, and the NDC is saying you are going everywhere making all sorts of promises. How are you going to implement them?
With about 97 days to the elections, brother, the kitchen is getting hot. Okay.
Chiefs, residents of Beachley draw battle line with land guards, and I'm sure if you know the story, it has to do with a piece of land that we are told is being coveted by one Sino group of companies or so, one Sino company. We are told it's a subsidiary of the Zoom Lion group of companies, but we'll see how that goes. And in other news now, obviously the BBC, the top story there: SA school racist hair rules suspended. That's some good news.
And that's someone showing off her kinky hair. Beautiful, isn't it? Well, let's do some other stories.
Okay, there are some highlights from Africa on the BBC page. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg in Nigeria, and no money for Olympic coach. Okay, speaking of that, it reminds me of the situation in Ghana.
Yes, the GFA and the Ministry of Sports. I was listening to the BBC yesterday,
and their top story for the sports bulletin was the fact that
Andrea Yu
has
decided
to pay.
Football
players in Ghana are having to pay their own fares just so they can come and play for the country. That's how they captioned it.
Wow.
And you see, the kind of you should have listened to the report. Really, it was not the best report. Particularly seeing that Ghana has made a lot of strides in
especially
this
in football. Yes, we have. We've been impressive.
Anyway, speaking of football and other sports-related issues, Benedict Osu, award-winning Benedict Osu, I might add, is standing by with all the latest. Dennis?
Yeah, in sports, and well, you still can get interactive with us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Joy News on TV. On Instagram and Twitter as well, we have the same name, Joy News on TV. Alternatively, you can send us a WhatsApp message on the number 0560-800,000. And after Benedict, we'll be talking about the police and all the negative news and all the scandals and policemen in shootouts,
criminal protectors, I choose to call them.
Policemen robbing banks and all that. And I would love to hear your questions on that. What do you want to find out? We'll have Superintendent Cephas Arthur here, and we'll also have Adib Sani, who's a security analyst. Thank you so much, Papa.
Do you feel protected? I don't feel safe.
You don't feel safe?
I don't feel safe.
I like someone will say, I just walk trusting God, because sometimes when you hear this news, you really get discouraged. And for me, it's not even to the extent of indulging in some of these criminal activities, but when I get to a police checkpoint and they want to take money from me, and that alone tells me these people may not be so concerned about the core of their jobs. And it's a really disturbing problem.
I see. You say no more reds, they want blues and greens. But we'll see how that goes. Benedict Osu is up next with some sports. Stay on.